Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Monday, October 16th, and welcome to our video commentary. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of issues. We're going to remember Clarence Thomas, who was confirmed to the Supreme Court this week in 1991. But we're going to begin with a look at what just happened in Venezuela. They had elections for state races, for like state legislatures and state governors, sort of like their version of let's say our midterms, although not exactly the same thing, but sort of like that. And before the election, all the projections were showing that the opposition was going to do very well. The night of the election, a movement of Chavez parties ended up winning 15 out of the 23 governorships. Well, to say the least, the opposition is not buying those results, and neither am I. Neither am I. I think this is total, complete fraud on the part of the Maduro government. They are literally stealing the election from the people of Venezuela. And I've been very fortunate to have as a friend Daniel Ducanal, who puts out some wonderful reports out of Venezuela on his blog. And I'm telling you, his reports, I think, are right on target. He's calling it fraud, and that's exactly what it is. What I'm hoping is that President Trump will say, we do not accept these results, we're not going to accept them, and we're going to put more sanctions on the government of Venezuela. Now, some people might say, well, if you put sanctions, you're going to hurt the people. That's true. That's true, too. But Venezuela has to make some debt payments here in the next few weeks, and they apparently do not have the liquidity to make these payments. So maybe we can use these elections and these debt payments as an opportunity to put more pressure on Venezuela. But this type of fraud, where a country literally steals elections like this, cannot be tolerated in the 21st century. Wherever we see it, we have to stand against it and be very vocal against this kind of election fraud. I mean, it's just an absolute travesty what just happened down in Venezuela. And as I said before, I get a lot of my information from my friend Daniel Ducanal, who does a fabulous job reporting in English to the rest of the world about what's happening down there. Let's remember Clarence Thomas. It was 26 years ago this week that Clarence Thomas was confirmed to the Supreme Court. He's been a very good, reliable, conservative justice. Many people who know a heck of a lot more than I do about these things will say that he writes very good opinions, that he's one of the most serious justices in the court, and I believe that. I think he's not only a great justice, but he's also a man of great character. And as some of you may remember, his confirmation was rather controversial. Things were going rather well. He had been appointed by the first President Bush, and in many ways, his selection was seen as a great example of a great story of a young African-American man who went on to become very successful and eventually nominated to the Supreme Court. Well, during the confirmations, they had this thing with Anita Hill. Apparently, Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas had a relationship in their lives. I don't really know what it was. They were both single at the time, so whatever relationship they had, let it be. I'm not really interested in going back. But I think Anita Hill was used by many people in the left to destroy Clarence Thomas. And what was really behind it all was abortion. The Democrats understood that somebody like Clarence Thomas in the Supreme Court would be potentially a threat to Roe v. Wade. So they used every trick in the book to try to destroy Clarence Thomas. It didn't work. It didn't work. And eventually he was confirmed 26 years ago this week. But the real consequence of Justice Thomas, or the hearings for Justice Thomas, just like before, the hearings for Robert Bork 4 years before, is that it has turned our nomination process into nothing more than a debate over abortion. Every time a Republican nominates someone for the Supreme Court, it becomes nothing but a debate about abortion. And I think the country deserves better than that. There are more issues in this country in the Supreme Court. Abortion is one of them for some people, but there's a lot of other things too. But unfortunately, every time a Republican nominates someone for the Supreme Court, the left will go berserk and turn it all into a big debate about abortion. And I think we as a country lose when we have things like that. So we salute Clarence Thomas, who 26 years ago was selected to the Supreme Court, a good man, a good justice, And we hope that he spends a lot of time in the Supreme Court because he's been a very good justice. Have a great day, everybody. We have all of these documentaries over, or commentaries, I should say, over at YouTube. We also put them over at Twitter and over at my blog. Have a good day. It's an absolutely beautiful day here in Dallas, Texas. I mean, just absolutely great. Beautiful fall day. Bye-bye, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas.